Good evening, Kathy Sherman, Bolton Ridge Road. I was wondering if we had an update on the status of the tax street, the tax agreement. Are we getting closer to have one with Invenergy, or?
I have nothing further to report than the last time we talked about it. Nothing yet. I hope to have the public hearing within the next 3 weeks. That's what I'm hoping. But I have nothing else to.
And I'm asking that because I think at the last meeting, we were right around the time frame that I think it was just a projection that Mr. Wood had with regard to that. One other question.
Could you speaker on, please?
It is. I'm just trying to be soft and quiet today.
We can't hear you either, John.
One other question. With regard to the motion for clarification that you submitted to the Energy Facility Siting Board regarding what's in a butter, do you have any idea when that definition will be provided?
No.
Can you explain a little bit, and I don't mean this negatively, but why on or about August 1st, and I know it was close of business on July 29th, but for argument purpose, on August 1st, we're asking what an abutter is, when we knew on March 10th that we needed to have the tax assessor provide that advisory opinion?
I'm sorry, you're asking when to expect an answer?
Well, that was the first question, and you said you didn't know when the siting board's going to give you that answer. But it seems a little late in the process not to know the definition of an abutter.
Correct, it is. It's the board, the EFSB, they have to meet and they have to make a decision between the 3 members. It's not up to the lawyers, it's not up to the staff to get a decision. I actually met with the staff person, Todd Bianca was running it. He said he's going to present it to them, and whenever they meet and discuss it, that's when they'll give it to us.
I guess, all right, so my follow-up question is, why on August 1st are we asking, when on March 10th, the Energy Facility Siting Board gave their order, telling us who needed to provide advisory opinions, who they were requesting advisory opinions. The tax assessor of Burrillville was listed as a person that they were requesting an advisory opinion. They gave us what the 2 questions for the tax assessor were, and then that was whether or not it was the whole town and the abutters. Why did it take until August 1st, this late in the process, to identify who an abutter is?
That was a clarification question. I don't know necessarily that their definition is going to affect the advisory opinion that the real estate expert is going to prepare.
So is he going to prepare one without that?
I can't speak for Oleg why the request went out, but at the last meeting when we talked about, Mr. Bailey had mentioned like the concept,
visual abutters and things like that.
Yeah, the concept of a visual abutter. In terms of when and that was at the time that we appropriated the funds to hire the expert to do the fair market, any impact on the fair market. Yeah, so I think after you mentioned the visual abutter, the motion was made for clarification, but I don't think that response is necessarily going to impact what the expert is going to do, because it's my understanding that the expert is going to evaluate both, the area close to where the power plant, the proposed project is, and the town as a whole. So I don't know.
So we're not waiting for that definition
No.
We're not waiting for that, but the issue is...
just trying to be responsive to what his...
Well, it's part of it, but
Yeah.
semantics are what they are, because if you look at what an abutter is, by the definition of the dictionary, the only abutters truly are those of you who live on the little spur that may be where the driveway is in Algonquin. So we said, Jesus, we need to make sure that we understand what they're looking for when we do this report. We thought about it when we started doing the due diligence and asking people if they're interested, they started to raise the question. That's why the RFP had the rings in it, 1, 2, 3. We tried to get some semblance of what we thought would be a reasonable set of circumstances that our people could evaluate it. And then we looked at it and said, we still we'd like to get their sanction on the RFP and what we put out there. We thought we'd get a quicker answer, but they have problems getting their board together. There's not gonna be a problem, because there's a whole lot of other work to do to be able to determine, what the impact is. So they're getting together sometime in mid-August, if I'm not mistaken, is that right?
Yes.
And then they should be able to get that done, and we have until mid-September to turn it around, so I'm not concerned that we won't be able to define that and get it straightened out.
And just for anyone who didn't read that clarification, there are several different definitions of an abutter that you listed in your request for clarification. So I can see that there are different standards for an abutter depending on what forum you're in. I think you identified the federal, and then you identified the local. So I was just wondering about what that process was. So thank you for that
I think
clarification.
we'll be fine, I'm not concerned about it.
Well, you can understand my.
I do, I certainly
You can understand my concern.
You know, from a strictly legal perspective, an abutter means when they
Right up
join,
against- right.
that's right, land that shares a common boundary.
Right.
That's the legal definition. And if the lawyers for the EFSB had to reply, that's probably what they would have told us. So as a result, we gave them all these different scenarios to say, hey, think about this. There's more to this than what you think. And they probably will come back with this response. And this is just me thinking. I'm not getting any information, feedback from them whatsoever. They're going to say, abutters is a legal definition.
Plus Monday
Those
was a state holiday too, so I'm sure that impacted, getting the board assembled and getting a response as well.
And the second part of that question or that request to the tax assessor is the town as a whole.
Right.
So they're going to say to us, well, give us your opinion about the abutters and then give us opinion about the rest of the town. So as the manager just told you, so we think there'll be more impact closer to the plant and less so as you go out. So that's
Right.
the mindset we have.
Well,
without waiting for
reasonable
an answer.
people would think that. It's
Yeah.
Invenergy that doesn't seem to think that.
What we want to give them is something they'll listen to. So their input is important, because if we give them something and they say that's not what we wanted, that would be a mistake.
Right.
So we're trying to get their buy-in and get the product that they want to see.
So thank you for that clarification.
Okay. Thank you, Kathy.